Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5 best Razer mouse. Starting at number 5. Razer Basilisk V3. The new Razer Basilisk V3 is, as the name suggests, the third iteration of the iconic wired rodent. It looks and feels practically identical to the V2, which admittedly isn't a bad thing at all. Designed for right-handers, the $70 Basilisk V3 retains the same flared and textured thumb rest, iconic thumb paddle, and split mouse button design of the V2. It's extremely comfortable to hold on to for hours on end and reminds me why the Basilisk Ultimate was my own favorite mouse for the longest time. You won't miss the most obvious design change: a blinding, 9-zone Razer Chroma lighting strip on the base. Razer is touting the new Hyperscroll tilt wheel on the V3 as one of its most standout features, and for good reason. It brings two modes of use: tactile for clicky, measured scrolls, and free spin, which removes any resistance to scrolling. Smart Reel is an automatic mode that switches between the two modes. Spin the wheel faster and the mouse releases the wheel into free spin, which is wonderful for long web pages and documents. Coming at number 4. SteelSeries Prime Wireless. It's fascinating how much the new SteelSeries Prime Wireless gaming mouse reminds me of the Razer Viper Ultimate. It's a no-frills, high-performance machine designed to meld with your palm and make you the FPS god you always dreamed of being. The Prime Wireless immediately felt like it was designed just for my particular hand. SteelSeries says they worked with several esports pros to develop the right shape and weight that feels like an extension of your arm. For once, the product lives up to the hype. The body is made from a micro-textured ABS plastic, which has a matte finish that feels simultaneously slick and yet grippy. At 80G, it's slightly heavier than the Viper Ultimate, but it's hardly what you'd call heavy. The thumb well curves inwards while the mouse buttons rise higher towards your index finger and taper off under your middle finger. This subtle slope makes the buttons feel somehow easier to click. The thumb buttons are positioned slightly above where your thumb rests, so there's barely any travel to reach them. I do wish they were slightly more forward so I don't have to crook my thumb so much in order to press the rear button, but I can live with it. At number 3. Razer Naga Pro. The Razer Naga Trinity has been on our best gaming mouse list as the top recommendation for MMO/MOBA games for years now. But there's a new kid in town, the Razer Naga Pro. The Naga Pro drops the cable for Razer Hyperspeed wireless and Bluetooth connectivity. It also picks up optical mouse switches and the over-the-top 20,000 dpi sensor. The overall design of Naga Pro stays close to the Trinity but has gained a bit of weight to accommodate the new tech. The Naga Pro is 7mm wider and heavier than the Trinity at 117G, but thanks to the 100% PTFE feet, it glides smoothly across most surfaces. I'm a fan of Razer's optical mechanical switches, which use light to register clicks instead of mechanics, and that makes them really fast. The switches are durable too, with a lifespan of 70 million clicks, but of course, the Naga Pro has plenty of other buttons too. The 3 swappable plates have 2, 6, and 12 buttons, which you can remap to your heart's content. Number 2 of my list. Logitech G203 Lightsync. If you find the Logitech G203 Lightsync familiar, you're not the only one. This mouse may be tipped as a fairly recent arrival, but it is almost functionally identical to the G203 prodigy that preceded it. The G203 Lightsync sits within a hotly contended category of budget-conscious gaming mice. Most of all, it faces stern competition from Razer, whose lineup at this price, or thereabouts, now includes the DeathAdder Essential, Basilisk Essential, and Viper Mini. However, the G203 Lightsync has enough about it to stand its own. What's somewhat confusing is that non-Lightsync products are also able to integrate with said app to varying degrees. The 3 titular lighting zones all lie within the thin strip that spans the rear palm rest, with the logo above taking the same color as the middle RGB lighting zone. While it might have been nice to have independent control of the logo itself, the option does allow for gorgeous tricolor gradient effects sweeping from one side of the mouse to the other. And number 1. Razer DeathAdder V2. The Razer DeathAdder V2 improves on everything we love about the DeathAdder Elite, itself one of the best gaming mice, and one that has been around since 2016 in various forms. The most obvious improvement is the Focus Plus optical sensor, the same one used in the excellent Razer Viper Ultimate Wireless. I'll go into it in a second, but I was more impressed by the more subtle changes Razer has made for the V2. The first is the scroll wheel. Razer has a ridiculous name for the new design, instinctive scroll wheel tactility, but the results are perfect. I've used a version of the DeathAdder for years, and my one complaint is that the stiffer wire can sometimes pull the mouse to one side, depending on how it sits on my desk. The V2's wire is the most flexible I've tried on a gaming mouse, and ultimately that means it's less likely to impact your mouse movement, even if you get lazy about wire management, like me. Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.